I'm Renee Williams.
And I'm Billy Thomas.
And welcome to another edition of From the Woods Today. Billy, we've been telling people, hey, we're together in a couch, and then every now and then, though, we have to go do something somewhere else. So that's what you're actually doing today.
Yeah, no doubt. Welcome, everybody. Glad to have everybody with us today. We've got a really exciting show. I'm really excited to have Matt Dixon. We're going to have him on here in a few minutes. He's our meteorologist here at UK, and he's doing such a great job keeping us informed about weather and weather events. And, here in a little bit, we'll have him talk about severe weather, Renee, and, for Kentucky. But yes, today I am down at Berea College Forest, and I'm actually so thankful to Berea College for letting me use their office. I'm actually in Clint Patterson's office. He is the forester that oversees the forestry program here at Berea, and we're at the site of the Kentucky Woodland Owners Association annual meeting. They're actually wrapping it up in the building right beside me. So, Renee, we got a lot of fans from the show that are in that meeting. So I just wanted to give them a shout out if they catch this on the podcast or listen to it on YouTube a little bit later. But yeah, really great group down here. And Renee, we've had like our almost, except for you, our almost entire extension team has been down here presenting and working with the Kentucky Woodland Owners Association on the annual meeting. Dr. Gumbert's been presenting, Dr. Springer, Dr. Crocker, and Dr. Mulligan's talking right now to the group. So
everyone is down there.
Yeah, so it's really great. But I will encourage landowners out there, if you are a landowner, if you know somebody that is a woodland owner, encourage them to really think about joining the Kentucky Woodland Owners Association. It's a great group of folks that are really working hard on behalf of woodland owners in the state. And Renee, us being an extension, we really rely on the producers and the lay people and the audiences out there to help drive what we do and what we work, because we want to be responsive to our communities. And the Kentucky Woodland Owners Association is such a great community to work with. So I want to give them a plug.
No, do you have a little bit of information on kind of what they do? And like, if you were to join, are you required to, do a whole bunch of things, or, what does the KWOA mean, by joining, I guess?
Sure. Well, for one thing, it really draws recognition and attention to the importance of our woodlands, right? I think their tagline is bringing together people and woodland sustainability. So they are all about promoting good forest management here in Kentucky. And as you know, you may own your woods for various reasons, right? You may be interested in timber, you may be interested in wildlife or whatever, recreation. It doesn't really matter. And they want to kind of be working with you and support you, but they do a lot on behalf of woodland owners in the state. They serve on various boards. They present people that serve on boards, such as the BMP board, the Best Management Practices Board here in Kentucky. They also are in the ear of legislators quite a bit, letting them know about priorities and issues that are important, and they're responsive when legislation comes out. But they're also always trying to collaborate and connect landowners with the services that are available to them. So, and I think one great benefit, if you're a woodland owner, to be a member of that, is that peer-to-peer learning. It's one thing for me, on a salary, to talk about the importance of forest management. It's a whole nother ball game when you're talking to a landowner to landowner, and you're kind of relaying what you've gone through and what worked for you or what maybe didn't, or some little pieces of advice. So I think that peer-to-peer learning and that support, that networking, it's a big benefit of the Kentucky Woodland Owners Association. It's a group we've worked with for a long time, and we try to help support them because they do so much great work, and they're such a big partner in sustainable forestry here in Kentucky.
Yeah, they definitely are, and we greatly appreciate that. And we work with them a lot on different various projects. They'll actually be at the Woodland Owner Short Course that we're going to have later on this summer as well. And so we always appreciate all the wonderful things that they do.
Yes, yeah, they're a great group to work with. So again, if you're woodland owners, really consider joining them. I got to go to another group, if we've got just a moment, Renee.
I was getting ready to ask you about that. Yeah.
So this past Friday and Saturday, I had the pleasure and opportunity to participate in the Kentucky Master Naturalist Conference, and we've heard about that show, because some of our team is coordinating and running that. Dr. Ellen Crocker and Laurie Thomas are the directors of that program. But Renee, it was just so impressive. We had a lot of fans of the show there as well. So a big shout out to all the Kentucky Master Naturalists, whether you're watching or listening to to us. We appreciate all you do. And Renee, one of the things that came out of that group last year had donated more than 4,000 hours of volunteer service across Kentucky. So they're helping out in parks, or they're helping out in local communities doing kind of forestry, wildlife, natural resource related education. Some of them are pulling invasive plants, helping parks or other communities do that. But they are great leaders out there across the state. If you are interested in joining the Kentucky Master Naturalist program, I think it's really a wonderful opportunity. Be on the lookout for that. I think they'll have their next cohort starting probably in January of next year. Take advantage of that opportunity when it comes around. And I'll tell you, folks, if you're interested in it, you better sign up quick, because that's a program that fills up very fast. And it's just a great group of people, and it was for us an extension to be able to work with landowners and the public that are really passionate about the same things that we're passionate about. It's such a rewarding experience because you feel like, you're not alone. Sometimes we feel like we're just screaming into the void,
Right.
take care of your woods, take care of your wildlife. But there's a lot of people out there that are really working really hard to kind of support that. So, yes, a big shout out to the Kentucky Master Naturalists as well as our woodland owners here across Kentucky.
Yes. Well, great. And then of course you're having it at Berea College, so a shout out again to them for sponsoring you to be there in his office.
Yeah, I was going to say, and I'll throw a plug in for them. If you've never been to the Berea College, well, it's an amazing college in its own right, but they also have their own forest, right? Berea College Forest, and many people may not realize, but they are the ones who supply the drinking water for the Berea Water District, right? So all the water that people are drinking here in the city of Berea and on the college campus flows through and comes through the forest land that Berea owns and manages. And I'm telling you, Renee, they are managing it very, very well. And they've got such a long history of managing their woods here. We heard from Clint Patterson as part of our conference here. They've been managing this since the 1800s, right? Wow. So yes, and we were looking at the original forest management plan for this property. They have it on display. So one of the things they built recently, a few years ago here, is a forestry outreach center. So that's where the meeting's taking place right now. But folks, it's really a great place to come and visit and learn a lot about the history of forestry and forest management in this region, and the hiking trails and the lookouts that they have here. You can look into Lexington basically from the top of their mountains that are part of their forest system. So they're just doing great work, and we partner with them in so many ways on research and education and outreach. A big thanks to Berea College and the forestry crew and all the great work they do here.
So do you know whether, like, if you want to go hiking there, can you just go, or do you have to have an appointment? Do you have?
And they do guided hikes, I think, every week as well. So you can just type in Berea College Forestry Outreach Center, and you can actually sign up for their newsletter, and you'll learn about different programs and events. And they do a lot of programming out of this. But the trails are open basically during daylight hours, and there's an extensive trail network here. Some very beautiful trails with some great views. Come check out Berea College and the Forestry Outreach Center. You won't be disappointed.
Wonderful. Wonderful. Okay, so I guess we'll need to get on to today's topic, though.
This is a good topic, right? It's an important, timely topic with.
Yes, severe weather is upon us. And so we really need to know what we need to do to be prepared, especially, one, if you're in your woods when it happens, because it can happen at any time. What if you're out doing something, you've been there all day, and, so there's different things that, you might need to be prepared for before you actually go and get into your woods.
Yeah. And fortunately, we've got somebody that can help us. Matt Dixon, really excited to have him on. And Matt, if you want to join us now, it'd be great. We talk about you a lot. We appreciate all that you do to kind of keep us attuned to what's happening weather, because it's so important to all we do and to all of our constituents out there. So thank you for being with us today.
No doubt about it. I appreciate you guys having me. Weather impacts us all. Whatever, operation, farm, forestry, it impacts us all at all points of the year. But we're in March Madness. right now, basketball wise, but it's March Madness in the weather world too. So we're seeing our ups and downs in the temperature with that spring transition now. We got sub-freezing temperatures possible tonight, but we're going to be in the upper 70s by Sunday. So um,
Yes.
keeps me on my toes.
I
So
was going to say,
Yeah, bet.
well,
All right.
the saying's always, if you don't like the weather here in Kentucky, just wait a few minutes, right?
exactly. So
All right.
yeah, but with that, I mean, spring transition, this is our peak severe weather season. So we thought this was a timely topic. Let you all know about severe weather preparedness, some safety aspects to think about moving forward, and putting yourself in the best possible situation if there is severe weather out
Right.
there. So I'm also going to introduce my new smartphone app in the Ag Weather Center, which is going to provide another source for receiving warning information. So,
Yeah.
yeah.
Well, Matt, I hope you see a big uptick in downloads after we get this
Oh, I
recording.
hope so too.
So, but I'm sure it'll be great. I remember you kind of mentioning it a while back, so exciting to hear about that.
Great. So if you guys are cool
Go
with
ahead.
it, I'll go ahead and share my presentation and we'll go through it. So
Awesome.
again, we're here today. I want to put you all in the best possible spot if we do have severe weather. Again, the next few months is our peak season for severe weather. It can happen any time of the year, but it's most common during the months of April, May, and June, those spring transition months. So with all my presentations, I try to start out with a little trivia, and I thought, let's go a little bit of a different route today. So I'm going to open my chat box. We're going to do a little bit of a tornado fact or fiction. So I'm going to monitor the chat box here. You guys tell me, fact or fiction. First one, lakes and rivers and mountains protects areas from tornadoes. Is that fact or fiction, guys? Fiction, no fiction. You guys are all experts. So I put an image here. They definitely do not protect you. This is an image from the 2012 tornado outbreak out in eastern Kentucky. I can't remember if this was West Liberty or Salyersville, but those big time EF3 tornadoes tracked up the sides of mountains. So just because you're in a mountainous location, maybe over in eastern Kentucky, or you're next to a lake or the Ohio River, does not protect you. So we just had a tornado cross the Ohio River, a few weeks ago or whatnot. Next one. A tornado causes buildings to explode as the tornado passes overhead. Fact or fiction? Fiction. Kevin says fiction. Joe, fiction. Cindy, fiction. All right. Yeah, you guys are all spot on. You know, explode, no, not so much. It's all the debris flying through the air that is going to damage the building, the household, whatever you're in. So the pressure is not going to explode the house, so on and so forth. Open windows before a tornado approaches to equalize pressure and minimize damage. Fact or fiction? I might have just gave the answer to this. Fiction. Again, keep those windows closed. All this flying debris through the air, closing your windows not going to do much. So, next one, highway overpasses don't provide safe shelter. Is that fact or fiction? Fiction, fact, fiction. Depends on your options. Okay. Well, highway overpasses, we're getting a little bit of both here. This is fact. We do not want to take shelter underneath a highway overpass. It has a wind funneling aspect to it. So it's just going to maximize those winds going under that overpass. So you guys might have seen Twister, that first tornado they came across. They went under the bridge. No, That's not going to work. So stay away from highway overpasses. If you're on the road, get to the safest location you can find. It is safe to take cover in the bathroom, closet, or hallway of a mobile home. Is that fact or fiction? Fiction, fiction. See, you all are weather nerds just like me. So, mobile homes not an ideal place to take shelter during a tornado warning. Some past research I saw, like even if the mobile home is anchored down, it's like maximum winds of 90 some odd miles per hour, and it can start rolling. So, if you're under tornado watch and there's a possibility of tornadoes that day, I would take some action and try to find a place, a safer shelter if you are under a tornado warning. And lastly, tornadoes hit big cities. Is that fact or fiction? Mike says fact, Cindy says fact, Kathleen says fact, Joe says fact. You guys are absolutely correct. This tornado in particular, it was a rarity out in the Western US, but it did hit downtown Salt Lake City. We've seen tornadoes here recently pass through downtown Nashville. Keeping with March Madness, there was a tornado during a tournament game down in Atlanta one year, and it actually passed over the stadium. The lights were shaking. So, bottom line, tornadoes can hit big cities. It doesn't matter where you are. A tornado has touched down in all 50 states here in the US. We are one of the hot spots in the world for tornado formation, especially here in the Great Plains and the Ohio Valley. We'll talk about that here in a second. So, just to start out, I wanted to mention my own experience. Back in October of 2014, I'm sitting at my house in Georgetown, and we have a low pressure system moving through, and we had a warm front set up just north of 64. And we started seeing what you call supercell thunderstorms forming along this warm front. A supercell thunderstorm is a rotating thunderstorm. So if you see a tornado, typically they're going to come from these supercell thunderstorms. Not all the time. Sometimes you see them in lines and whatnot, but supercell thunderstorms pretty common. Anyways, have a supercell thunderstorm form. It's early in the evening. Have a tornado warning on it. So I take shelter underneath my stairwell at my own house. And it expires. I come out, and this is what I saw on the ground. Little pebble size hail all over the ground. Saw some decent size hail, quarter size, some golf ball size. I put a quarter there just for showing the size of these things. And that was that. But it was a rare day because not 20 minutes later, I had another tornado warning. And this one was a little bit more intense. And after this round, I took shelter in my underneath my stairwell again. But this time I started hearing horrendous hail. Keep it in the same sport. It sounded like a entire baseball team was taking a baseball bat to the side of my house. I was curious whether I was going to walk out to a second story still on my house, but this is what I found. Uh-oh. My computer locked up. Let's see if I can do this again. There we go. Billy, Renee, can you guys see this all
Yes,
right?
we got you.
Sorry, had some technical difficulties there, but came out, and this is the baseball size hail that I picked up in front of my house. It was biggest hail I've ever encountered. We were under a tornado warning, and this is why we tell you guys to take shelter during these severe thunderstorm events. But the same tornado produced I don't know why it keeps going to the next slide. This same supercell thunderstorm produced a tornado in Paris, Kentucky. And anyways, after this tornado touched down, the National Weather Service, they called me. They said, Matt, do you want to go out on a tornado survey? They go out on these tornado surveys to determine, um, this is weird, guys. I apologize. It keeps going to the next slide for some reason, but I'll try to keep it keep it here. They asked me if I wanted to go out on this survey. The National Weather Service goes out to these surveys to determine peak intensity of these tornadoes based on damage in that area. So these were some of the images we saw that day. Went to the subdivision in Paris, saw a roof torn off, saw some walls collapsed. And but I was going around one of these houses and I had a woman tap me on the shoulder and she says, "Can I help you?" And I said, "Oh, I'm just helping out the National Weather Service determine how strong this tornado was." And she goes, "Well, let me tell you what happened." I said, "Okay, okay." And she mentioned she heard the tornado sirens go off. And instead of going and taking shelter, she went to her kitchen window and she saw the leaves start flying past. She saw the branches start flying past her window. Next thing you know it, here's a tornado. Tornado rips down her kitchen wall, rips her with it, and she landed face first in her driveway. She had something like 15 stitches in her lower lip. Um, that was all the injuries she incurred during that event. But still, um, I looked around her house and not probably 10, 15 feet from that kitchen window was a bathroom in the middle of her one-story home that had all four walls, including the door, still intact. So I guess moral of the story, curiosity sometimes gets the best of us. I'm not going to lie, it gets the best of me sometimes. I want to see it. But we all need to take shelter and take these tornado warnings seriously because you don't know, even though you might see multiple tornadoes during your life or tornado warnings during your lifetime, you might start ignoring them. You don't know that next time it might hit your location. So we want to be prepared. Something else, I went to Cynthiana that same day, another tornado touchdown. This is that picture on the far right. Those holes in that shed, those were 2x4s thrown into the side of that shed. So just shows you the power of these tornadoes, what they're capable of, and why we're wanting you to take shelter during these severe thunderstorms. So what is a severe thunderstorm? You have general thunderstorms producing lightning and whatnot. We see those multiple times a year. We'll see that on the next slide. But a severe thunderstorm is classified if you see hail greater than 1 inch in diameter, winds are greater than 58 miles per hour, or there's a tornado involved, whether that's observed or radar indicated. If there's a tornado involved, more times than not, they're going to upgrade it to a tornado warning. But we get this information from storm spotters across the state. They may call in and say, "Man, I got golf ball size at hail." So the National Weather Service will get that information and start issuing warnings for that particular supercell thunderstorm. Of course, they got radar satellite data at their hands too. Winds greater than 58 miles per hour. Maybe they're looking at the Kentucky Mesonet network of 80 plus weather stations across the state. And they see Shelby County just registered a wind gust of 70 miles per hour. So we need to issue a severe thunderstorm warning for Fayette County because it's heading that way. But National Weather Service, they're the ones issuing these warnings. The Storm Prediction Center is who issues these severe thunderstorm watches and tornado watches. They're out of Norman, Oklahoma. And a tornado watch or severe thunderstorm watch, it basically tells us the ingredients are there. for tornadoes to form, for severe thunderstorms to form. So a watch is basically giving us a heads up hours ahead of time. We need to plan for the possibility of severe weather in the near future. That doesn't mean you have to take shelter right now. It's just giving us, just some lead time. You need to think about your sheltering aspects the rest of the day. Maybe if you're in that mobile home, as I alluded to earlier, you need to start thinking about where is that safe shelter I'm going to go to if there is a warning issued. A warning, severe thunderstorm or tornado is upon us. We need to take shelter immediately. So again, a watch, the ingredients are there. Warning, it is happening. Take action. So I know this has caused some confusement for some folks, but generally speaking, watch ingredients are there. Warning, take action. So looking a little bit at severe weather climatology, this is the annual number of thunderstorms typically seen across the U.S. every year. Not severe thunderstorms, but just general thunderstorms. 40 to 50 across eastern Kentucky and the Bluegrass, a little bit more across western Kentucky, south central Kentucky in that 50 range. Looking at severe weather climatology, the amount of severe thunderstorm warnings issued per year for different locations. This is a look at Caldwell County, the number of severe thunderstorm warnings issued for any part of that county per year going back to the middle 90s. I have this going back prior 90, but they really didn't start updating this information until the mid 90s and onward. So you can see you're pretty well good for 7+ severe thunderstorm warnings per year out in western Kentucky. Moving this to Fayette, maybe a little bit more. This past decade has been quite active. And then Breathitt County, again, quite active. Moving to tornado warnings, don't see quite as much looking at Breathitt County. Again, I'm sorry, guys. This keeps trying to forward on here, but tornado warnings in Breathitt County, 2 on average per year. Louisville, 2 per average per year. 2011 was a pretty active season. And then again in Paducah, 3 or 4 per year. So a little bit more out in Paducah, but that makes sense based on severe weather climatology. Average annual number of tornadoes per year is 21 here in the Bluegrass State. Most of the tornadoes are forming out there in what I'll put in quotations, Tornado Alley. 155 on average per year in Texas, 62 Oklahoma, 96 in Kansas, but that kind of curves over to the east. 45 Missouri, Illinois, 54. But this I tell folks to take with a grain of salt because if you have a tornado outbreak, it may be well above these numbers. 2011 was a big time tornado outbreak, a big time tornado season across the United States. We saw much more in the way of tornadoes compared to these averages you see here. Average number of tornadoes per state. Our most active month for tornadoes is in April here in the state of Kentucky. We average 5 per year. Of course, that's more over in the Southern Great Plains region. This data is for 1998 to 2022. But again, talking to Renee and Billy, I thought this was a timely talk considering April's going to be our number 1 month for tornadic activity. Something else I wanted to mention, Tornado Alley, there has been some research on this. Based on our changing climate, it seems to be pushing east into our region. The yellow is the density of large tornado outbreaks from 1950 to 1980 and 1981 to 2019 in blue. And you can see those blue shades are really starting to creep into western Kentucky. So the major tornado outbreaks starting to push east across the Ohio Valley. Lastly, in regards to severe weather climatology, I want to mention this. Most tornadoes, 88% of tornadoes are considered weak. So the EF 4 tornado we saw in Western Kentucky back in 2021 is not normal. Let me see if I can fix this, guys. I apologize. This, let's see.
It might be the use timings.
The timings. Is that an animation?
It's a
No.
transition.
It was a transition. I'm just wondering if that might be it. Keep going down over to your, oh,
You're right. There's a using timings checked. I don't know if
Yeah.
you
Okay.
uncheck
Take that
that.
off.
I don't know that
Okay.
that'll do it, but we'll see.
Let's try it. Let's try it. That's just too much. That's never happened in one of my presentations, so it's throwing me for a loop. So I apologize, folks. But again, most of I think it may be working now. But thank you, Billy and Renee. But most tornadoes are going to be considered weak, EF0 to EF1, lifetime 1 to 10 plus minutes. Then you get up to strong tornadoes, only accounts for 11%. This is your EF2, EF3 range. And then violent tornadoes. This is what we saw on December 10th, 2021, back in Western Kentucky. And we've only seen one EF5 tornado. It was F5 at the time they changed the scale. That was in Brandenburg, Kentucky, in north central Kentucky. But strong to violent tornadoes we don't see very often, but we had to be prepared for them because, as we saw in 2021, they can happen. So, talking about severe weather preparedness, we want to put you, your family, your coworkers, whether you're on a farm operation, maybe you have employees, want to put you in the best possible spot as can be during these severe weather situations. So I have some steps here to think about as we head into the month of April. Identify those safe shelters now. You want the lowest level possible. If you have a basement, if you have something underground, that's preferable. But a lot of people don't have basements, and that's fine too. Again, most tornadoes are weak. And for those weak tornadoes, a single story home is completely fine. It might get a little hairy if it's an EF4, EF5 tornado, but a lot of times we'll have maybe some longer lead time on those strong to violent tornadoes because they've been on the ground a little longer than those weaker ones. Make sure it's an interior room. You're trying to put the most walls between you and the outdoor environment. And if you're on a larger operation, sometimes you may have migrant workers and whatnot. You want to talk to them about this aspect, where to take shelter, maybe put up some signage as to where to go. So label those shelters both inside and outside the operation. I went down to Robinson Forest several years ago. It was pre-COVID, and we labeled some locations down that way as to where to go if you are under a severe thunderstorm warning or a tornado warning. This image to the right, this is actually a picture from my brother's house. He lives out in Oklahoma. He has a 1-story house, and he worked with his company. They did some sort of match, and they paid for half the tornado shelter, and he paid for half. But this is a simple one. They come in, excavate part of your floor, and all he has to do is slide that door over top of him, latch it, and him and his family is now safe. So that's just one example. This other example down at the bottom, this was a picture I took of one of the buildings out North Farm where we identified as a safe shelter out there. Something in Eastern Kentucky to think about. Identify safe shelters in higher locations, higher elevations. So we saw what happened in 2022 with that flooding. You might have severe thunderstorms pass through, produce a tornado, high winds, hail. At the same point in time, it may dump a ton of rainfall. And you don't want to be in a place like 2022 where the water start rising pretty quick. I tell everyone, start asking yourself the what ifs. What if you don't have electrical power? Will that impact your operation? What if you have limited access to clean water? What if the roads are blocked? Communications are down. For the livestock folks on this presentation, may not have a lot considering this is forestry, but down fence, loose animals, may have trees coming down, lack of personnel, plan scenarios that extend a week. So severe weather, winter weather, maybe you have a major ice storm. Not necessarily this time of year. Hopefully we pass that threshold, but have a plan for every type of disaster. Here's another look at where to determine your safe shelter. This is from the National Weather Service. Again, top floor rooms, get out of them. You don't want to be there. If you're in a 2-story house, get off the second story. If you have a 1-story house, get in that most interior room, whether that's a bathroom, that's a closet. Just trying to put the most walls between you and the outdoor environment. But if you got a basement, if you got a storm shelter that goes underground, that's the best place you can be. So even for a strong, violent tornado, should be all right down underground. So why do I want you to take shelter? Again, here's just some more examples. I showed you what happened in 2014. This is from that EF4 tornado in Western Kentucky at our Princeton research area. And this was a combine. I don't want you in tractors or whatnot. I don't want you in your own vehicle if there's a severe thunderstorm warning in place. You have debris flying through there, it will shatter that window. We want you to go into a sheltered location. This was a brand new F-350, had 6,000 miles on it. Tornado crumbled it up like a piece of garbage. We don't want you in your vehicles if at all possible. Another example from that Western Kentucky tornado. This was from Princeton over on the left. I kicked that piece of wood. It wasn't moving. So that tornado sent this wood, this debris flying and wedged it into the ground. Just shows you the power of these things. Picture to the right was sent to me from Ben Rudy, A&R agent over in Fulton County, farthest westernmost county in Kentucky. At this time, I think we talked earlier this year, I believed it was a EF2 rating at that time. So not the EF4 that they saw in, Bremen, Mayfield, and Dawson Springs, but still EF2 tornado can wedge this corn stalk into the tree. He sent me a video that corn stalk wasn't moving, so it was wedged in there. So these next few slides, if you can get your phone out, just kind of play along with me. You can scan these QR codes as I go. But again, we're sticking with this, make an emergency evacuation plan for both family and your farm, your operation, you name it. I try to use this for a variety of sectors. And one good tool is this National Weather Service evacuations sheltering decision tool. So maybe if you're working over in Robinson Forest, you're out and about, you want to determine how much time it's going to take to really get to a safe shelter. If you're out and about, maybe you're at North Farm and you're trying to determine, if I'm out cutting hay, how long is it going to take me to get to a shelter location based on the current weather dynamics. So you can input all this information into this product. How long is it going to take you to get an alert, activation time? How long is it going to take you to get to a safe shelter? This automatically accounts for a 25% safety factor. So in this case, it was 8 minutes. So I think I was running this for North Farm. If you're cutting hay or something, you get a tornado warning on your phone. How long is it going to take you to safely get to a safe shelter? So anyways, putting yourself in the best situation possible, planning ahead, determining if you are out and about, how long will it take me to get to a safe shelter? Average lead time for a tornado warning, FYI, is 11, 12 minutes or so. So you don't have a lot of time. So I mentioned to everybody, I want you guys to have some way of receiving severe weather information. when there is a watch issued, when there is a warning issued. I want you guys to know that immediately. So if there is a watch issued, maybe you don't need to be going out in those woods or far out in those woods today. Or maybe that'll send you, make you look at the weather forecast and watch Bill Mack or Chris Bailey on TV. And okay, severe weather is going to get here at 6 p.m. So I need to start, getting out of the woods at 4 or 5 or so. But anyways, a number of ways you can do this. You can have weather radios. I totally recommend these things. These are just different images of weather radios. And I recommend these because while you might have apps, and I'm going to talk about one of my apps that will send you warnings, app may not be loud enough to wake you up at 2 a.m. in the morning. These no weather radios will do that. They'll get you up out of bed, tell you take shelter. I can assure you of that. You guys might, get those amber alerts on your phone. Flood warnings, they're really loud. They're in the middle of the night, and they may shock you a little bit, but they're there to tell you what's going on. And in the case of flood warnings, put you in the best possible spot imaginable. And these weather radios will do the same thing. But having apps, if you're on a larger operation, have two-way radios to communicate out to your employees in case there is a warning. So some ways to get information on potential threats: monitor the weather through your local National Weather Service office. These guys are here. They're paid with tax money. They're here to protect life and property. So we have several National Weather Services across the state. One in Jackson, Kentucky, takes care of most of Eastern Kentucky. Northeastern Kentucky, part of that's under Charleston, West Virginia, National Weather Service office. Northern Bluegrass, like the northern 4 or 5 counties, are under the Wilmington, Ohio NWS office. Most of Central Kentucky, including Fayette, is out of the Louisville NWS. Then Western Kentucky is the Paducah NWS, but they all have their own websites. I believe this link will get you to the Louisville National Weather Service, but they got some navigation to get you to some other offices if you're interested. But one of the products I really like, if we have a severe weather situation coming up, they have these briefings that they put in the corner of their page. Really simple, almost PowerPoint product. They put it in a PDF to let you know stuff about, what type of hazards are we expecting that day? What's the timing of these hazards? And then maybe some safety aspects for you to take into account. But this is just one example from August 9, 2023, showing what the National Weather Service from Louisville was giving to the public at that time. Something else, the Storm Prediction Center. These are, again, the severe weather experts, and they put out something called convective outlooks. And I think they're a great resource. And again, this is mainly for your larger operations, planning the day, keeping your employees safe. This is a look at one of their products. This is called the Convective Outlook, shows the risk of severe weather. Now, this was taken back in 2012, whenever, or I'm sorry. Yeah, not 2012. Yeah, it was 2012. This was that major severe weather outbreak we saw on March 2nd. We were under a high risk of severe weather that day from the Storm Prediction Center. High risk. You don't see a high risk very often. If you see a pink area on this map, something bad's about to happen. And we had a major tornado outbreak that day. High risk doesn't necessarily have to mean it's a tornado outbreak. Maybe it's what you call a derecho, a long-lived, lasting line of severe thunderstorms pushing through a region, but it's a widespread severe weather outbreak. Once you start seeing this get into the red and pink shades, like it's a pretty serious situation, weather-wise. So this is those risk categories I was just going over again. High risk, moderate risk at the top end of the spectrum. You will see slight risk and enhanced risk multiple times a year here in the state of Kentucky. Slight risk, scattered severe thunderstorms possible. Enhanced risk, numerous severe thunderstorms possible. We had numerous tornado warnings about a week ago, and part of the state was under enhanced risk severe weather. So, again, great resource. While we're on this subject, I want to introduce to you all new product from the Ag Weather Center called Weather Alert. This is a new smartphone application that is now available for Apple Android. You guys are one of the first audiences I'm presenting this to that will have access to the Android version. It was just released last week, but this was funded through Cooperative Extension, UK Land Grant, an awarded project, and also support from the Southeast Center for Agricultural Health and Injury Prevention. So they're sponsoring this app. In doing so, I don't have any ads on this app. So just FYI, I'll get to that here in a second. Weather Alert, basic name. We wanted to make it simple, simple for you all to find. I will give you guys some QR codes, as simple as to find. We don't have the amount of downloads yet to compete with the Weather Channel or Weather Underground, so on and so forth. So I'll give you guys the QR codes to find it. Real simple navigation. This is a look at the iOS version. Android does look a little different because I never thought that back button on Android would cause some issues in the app development process, but it did. But this is the iOS version. One spot there showing the current conditions and forecast for your location. It picks up on your GPS location as long as you allow it. I will say, we're not collecting any data on our side. The only data we're seeing is the amount of downloads. This is for our data provider, where they send alerts to your phone. So this is between Barren Weather and Apple and Android. So you have access to pinpoint your location, give you the most up-to-date location, weather information, I should say. But real simple, looking at current conditions and forecasts. Another tab for the Ag Weather Update. This links to my newsletter I put out weekly, bi-weekly during the growing season. Just put out update a couple weeks ago. I'm going to try to get one out today or tomorrow, but trying to tell folks what's going on the past week, month across the Bluegrass State, what to expect going forward, looking at the outlooks. Maybe some safety information involved. But I will tell you guys that we are about to start on phase 2, which is going to include some ag weather tools and products that'll come at a later date. We're paying a company for high resolution radar data. And this comes from a company called Barren Weather. I told folks, if we're going to do this, I want to do it right. I want you guys to have access to a very nice looking radar. And this company provides exactly that. You can zoom out across the entire United States. You can zoom right into your woodland area, your farm, whatever it may be. And you can be as much of a weather nerd as you want to be. You can put storm vectors on this, seeing the direction of storm motion. You can overlay with severe thunderstorm or tornado watch boxes, warnings, you name it. So again, as much of a weather nerd as you want to be, you go that route. Lastly, I got a tab for Extension Disaster Preparedness and Recovery. This is linked to the ANR Extension Disaster Preparedness page right now, just giving folks some information on how to prepare for these disasters, mitigation, so on and so forth. Lastly, again, no ads. I got tired of getting on certain weather apps and current conditions ad, forecast ad, hourly conditions. You got to pay me $10. No, we are Extension. This is free for you all to use. So we are not putting ads on this thing. Lastly, alerts on your phone. This is a big reason why I bought this package from Barren Weather. because they will send alerts directly to your phone based on your GPS location. If you're under tornado warning, you're going to get alerts from Weather Alert here. And I always tell folks, don't rely on weather alerts, 100%. I always tell folks have multiple ways of receiving warnings. So whether you have weather alert, maybe you have the WKYT app, maybe you have some weather service app, maybe you have a no weather radio, TV, you name it, have multiple sources of receiving warning, because it's not a matter of if we see another, disaster or whatnot here in Kentucky, it's when. I hate to say it that way, but it's the truth. I should go back here real quick. This is an example on the right of the type of alert you will see pop up on your phone, buzz, buzz, ring, ring. Weather alert is telling you that you're, in this case, under a wind advisory. This is back in January. So I'm going to start these up. These are 2 videos here, iOS on the left, Android on the right. Quick look at the app itself, look into hourly forecast conditions at this time. Android, I will say, has a little bit of a different look on the homepage now, but it's generally the same as the video I'm showing you currently. The goals of this project is a little different from all your standard weather apps. We want to heighten awareness during extreme weather conditions. And secondly, empower Kentucky farming operations. And I'll put woodland owners in this too, with valuable insights for management and production related decisions. So again, most of the ag weather stuff will come in phase 2, but we wanted to get phase 1 out to you all for the preparedness, extreme weather preparedness aspect, and just general forecast information moving forward. That's a look at my ag weather update. General information on ag weather alert, but you guys, I want to give you the chance to play with it. I'll give you guys the QR codes here in a second. Phase 2 is about ready to go in development. We're going to take our ag tools and models. We are going to modernize our website so it will show up correctly on the app. We're working on Kentucky. Our goal is to make it a county by county product, so maybe it can pick up on your GPS location also. So if you're in Caldwell County, Breathitt County, it just picks up on that and takes you to your local county's ag weather product. So we're trying to make one product, condensing it all into one tool, quick and easy. Phase 3, disaster readiness, county by county. Again, we want to make it localized. Currently, it's going to the A&R preparedness page, but we think it would be helpful if you had information to, local emergency management. Maybe there's a communication chain we're going to try to incorporate between the counties and the College of Agriculture here, so we can get resources where they need to go in a very quick manner. So something we're thinking about. You can access this information in my ag weather update. Again, this is the newsletter that I put out weekly, bi-weekly, mainly during the growing season. I'll be honest, I take a little bit of a break during the winter months, unless there's a major event. Yeah, if you guys scan that QR code, that'll take you to the sign up for the ag weather update. I'll give that a few seconds. Maybe I can share this with you guys afterwards also, or Billy and Renee can send out these web links. These are the links to Weather Alert. If you got an Android, QR code on the left. If you have an Apple phone, QR code on the right. And I can come back to this after my presentation. I will be putting this info in the ag weather update, hopefully in the next few days. Again, we're going to start advertising this, pushing out. Feel free to send this to your friends and family, especially here in the state of Kentucky. But I got cousins in southeastern Illinois. They use this app too. I got family down in Florida. They're using this app too. It's capable of being used anywhere you go. It'll pick up on your GPS location. If you go to Disney World here in a few months, it'll be on alert in Disney World too. So again, we're trying to put you guys in the best possible spot. I've been to numerous presentations the past So decade, everyone asked me, you got a weather app, you got a weather app. Well, guess what? It's happening now. So moving on. Just some extra things to think about moving forward. Develop an emergency contact list if you are on a bigger operation, Robinson Forest, maybe per se. Contact information for your local cooperative extension. We'll try to put this on that disaster preparedness page. Whenever that's developed in phase 3, utility company information, insurance policies, vets, emergency medical contacts, you name it, and give everyone a copy. Here at UK, I'm the building emergency action coordinator, and I got a little wallet size card that I have with me at all times. So if something does happen, there's a fire, there's a tornado, and something happens to the chem labs, I have no idea what's going on down there, but I have a contact of who does know what's going on down there. So, lastly, I say might need to halt operations, guys. When thunder roars, go indoors. This is a slogan from the National Weather Service. You all are woodland owners. Get out of those woods. Again, very low probability lightning ever strikes you, but there's a lot of stories out there of people getting hit by lightning. And I don't want anybody to be that next one that gets hit by lightning. So take thunderstorms seriously, take shelter. When it does happen. So this is an interesting stat I wanted to put in here. Lightning can strike up to 10 miles for rainfall away from the parent storm. So even though you might see that storm in the distance, it doesn't mean it can't strike you. So 10 miles, and being a fully enclosed building, another story, I think it was 14 or 15. We had some guys hanging, I shouldn't say we, but there was some guys hanging tobacco down near Richmond, and they thought they were fine in this barn, but lightning struck the side of the barn. It wasn't fully enclosed and spread into the barn, and unfortunately they perished in that storm. So fully enclosed building, don't mess with lightning. It is very dangerous. Keep up to date list of on-farm inventory. This is mainly for the farms across the state. This helps if you are under a disaster. My cousin's farm, Southeastern Illinois, who he works for, they lost 90% of their equipment on March 31st last year from a EF3 tornado passing through that area. So you never know. You never know. Put together a farm disaster kit, stockpile items. This is for the farms out there, but for woodland owners, you might think about this also. Alternative power supplies, fence supplies, extra fuel. In the case of the livestock folks, additional feed, dry bedding, fire extinguishers is a must. And again, those alternative sources of clean water. I'm going a little fast to keep up with time, but make sure to review that plan on a regular basis. Things change. Here in my building, we have folks leave, and I have to replace them. For floor leaders, so on and so forth. So it's good to check on these plans about once a year. And, if you have a severe weather supply kit, replenish those supplies. I always tell folks a good time to think about this is whenever you change the batteries in your no weather radio, which is about every 6 months. You want to make sure that thing is working properly if need be. So, Billy, Renee, that's what I got. Hope that's what you all were looking for. That's
Definitely. Lovely. I love it. I've already downloaded the app and I was looking at it. So it's awesome.
Yeah, I know. I shared it with my family too. I'm like, here, you need to download this now. So
good.
yeah.
Good.
Hopefully you'll have a huge spike of downloads with week,
Yeah.
So we greatly appreciate you letting us know about this. This is something that people really need to know about, especially the app. So, and I hate it when you get woke up like that in the middle of the night, but it is definitely something that needs to be done. So we greatly appreciate you doing this and, making the folks of Kentucky a whole lot safer. So appreciate that.
Yeah. If anybody has any questions, my email, matt.dixon@uky.edu. I'm happy to answer. And please download the app. It's there for you all. So
Yeah, no doubt. We will share it widely as well. So, Matt, just to echo what Renee said, really appreciate you and what you all are doing, that whole team over there. It is so critical, really, what the work that you all do. So, we're very
Thanks.
appreciative. Thank you.
Thanks, guys. Thanks, guys.
Yeah.
All right, Billy, great show. So,
Yeah.
we learned a lot, especially
Yeah.
about weather, that some of that stuff I was just like, wow, it's like, and I'm, the fiction, nonfiction, I was like,
I know.
heard, but I don't know that it's true.
I must admit, I was wrong on some of those, and I think that Twister movie twisted me up. So I was like, yeah, go under the underpass, but don't do it, right? So
Yeah, exactly. But I've always heard that, if that's all you got, then do it sometime. Who knows? So we greatly appreciate that. And then I appreciate you taking time out because I know you're busy at the KWA meeting. So I
that's
thank you.
okay. It's good stuff. We're thankful to be with you all, and we appreciate you all being with us. We really do. We do this show for you all. So if there's something you'd like to see one day on the show, let us know. We have a little survey link that you can find on fromthewoodstoday.com, and we'd be happy to try to get some user feedback to get some good content for you. I know Renee's really good about tracking down somebody that might have that expertise as needed. But we really appreciate y'all being on there. We think others would enjoy the show, so please spread the word about From the Woods Today. We want to be servants to everybody who cares about forests and wildlife and natural resources here in Kentucky or wherever you are. We appreciate your caring about our natural world. So we want to support you however we can. So thank you all for being with us.
We really do appreciate you all, and we will see you next week at 11. Take
All
care.
right.
Bye.
Bye, everyone.
From the woods today.